Hi, I'm Heather. This is going to be a personal blog. It will be accumulation of a bunch of healing, chaos, mental breakdowns, random thought processes, um, thus healing the chaotic storm because, I am the chaotic storm and, I'm also trying to heal. It mostly ends up being like a ton of micro changes that just will go and go and go, and then one day all of a sudden it's like a major shift will have happened from these micro changes happening over time, and it kind of blows my mind, honestly. I have a list of mental illness diagnoses from bipolar. BPD is probably the one that affects me a lot, and CPTSD, and my current untreated ADHD. OCD used to really also have a tight grip on me, but it has gotten less recently, and my anxiety has gotten less recently, mostly, not completely, but for the most part. When it comes to relationships, because of my BPD, my anxiety gets higher than most. I often feel like a little bit of a high schooler when it comes to relationship stuff because the BPD does make me feel insecure in my relationships. Even when I have evidence that I'm secure, I will still convince myself I'm not secure and there's a problem. However, I have been doing much better at that. Um, I spent almost 10 years single. Um, I know everybody still in my life tends to forget that I'm divorced and that I haven't been with my ex husband in a long time because we are still so enmeshed in each other's lives because of our child. But the reality is I love really hard and I put a lot into my relationships. But once I'm done with a relationship, I'm done. Um, and so that will never be a thing again. Same with my first husband. If he wasn't deceased, like we talked many times, and he thought until the day he passed away that there would come a time when I would see the light and come back to him. And I was just like, it isn't that I don't love you. Like, I love you even still. Like, because once I love somebody, I don't just stop. It may change the way I love you, but I don't just like stop loving you. Um, unless you're just like really heinous, and then that love shifts into more of hate. But um, yeah, I don't just stop loving people. Then all this time goes by, and I start dating this one guy, and it's different than what I've had in the past, but it still wasn't fulfilling. And it was still leaning more into the physical intimacy um, side of things. And I don't want to have that be the defining part of my future. And I don't just mean like my relationship, because for me, the goal isn't just to find some partner, somebody to fill this empty gap in my life. It is to find my partner, my person, my forever. And, you know, I'm theirs, they're mine. That is the goal now in life. It's to find somebody that, I'm the yin to their yang, and also like that I can build with, that I can build a life, build um, businesses, build future, and who knows, like maybe even I say this with this face because like I am not in a place where I want to have any more children. But I also, after my last relationship, had a perspective and mind shift change because of an age difference that there was between us. And because not knowing if he wanted kids or not, which then has led to like more thought processes because the person that um, I am interested in right now, there's a 20-year age gap, and he doesn't have children. And I know that based on conversations we've had, that he may want at least one child. And so I've really had to open my mind to that. But then the more I thought about it, like as much as I don't want to have any more children right now, like if I was with my person, I don't think that would feel like a hardship. And yes, there would be some doing to get there because like since I'm surgically sterilized, like we'd have to go through IVF, and more than likely we would want to do surrogacy because pregnancy is not kind to me, and the complications that I have are extensive. So rather than put me through that, so I can be healthy as possible, be around as long as possible, for my person and my child. Um, I don't completely disqualify that idea because I know when I love fully. And if my person wanted a child and it was just a matter of some medical intervention and a possible surrogacy to have the child with my person, I there wouldn't be anything in the world that could stop me from working towards that goal every day. Um, Realistically, anything after 5 years from now is probably not really in the cards for me because I can't imagine having a kid not yet out of high school in my 70s. So that would be a little bit hard for me, but the next 5 years would still be doable for me. But like, I know that relationships are hard work, but I feel like when you find your person, like the conversation should flow. You should want to learn about each other and be curious about each other. And I, like, even right now, the guy I'm talking to, he let me know that he's busy, that he's got a lot going on right now. And I don't know if it's going to work out for us because while I respect that, I also know that I too am so busy right now with so much shit going on. And I make time for him because I like him and because I want to see where this goes. But when I have to question and feel self doubt because the person that I like and that I'm interested in, that's supposedly interested in me, um, knows that communication is very important for me and that that's why I broke up with my last boyfriend, was because of the lack of communication. It makes it hard for me because when he tells me stuff like that, I just want to start crying. Um, And I won't. Like, I really get mad if a tear slips out around a partner like that we're not yet like really fully invested in a whole relationship. We're still learning about each other. I will get super pissed at myself. I don't like that to happen because for me, that feels a lot like emotional manipulation, and I don't want that. I don't want my partner to feel like I'm manipulating them with my tears. I would rather they not know, and I just am over here by myself, sobbing my eyes out. Um, it's like um, my therapist has been still, even though it's months later, and um, I'm talking to somebody new. My therapist still checks in like about my ex, like, you're not going to reach out, right? And I'm like, no, I made myself very clear what I needed, and he said he couldn't give me that, so it's time to move on. Like, and there were so many things, like, now that I am out of the relationship, even though sadly, like, it broke my heart because I did fall in love with him, and I do fall in love with people easier than probably a lot of people. I tend to be guided by my intuition, and if my intuition draws me to you, and then like we start communicating and it just clicks for me, then it clicks. Like, I can usually know myself. I can usually know if I'm going to fall in love with somebody the very first time I meet them. Um, but like learning new habits and new things, just because I fell in love doesn't mean I was willing to continue to let my boundaries be crossed and my needs not be met, which is typically not me. But in that relationship, like, I could tell that things were off from the beginning because, like, he told me about like his heritage, that he was Irish, and he asked me about my heritage, and I played so stupid. um I don't know, something in me was like, don't tell him about yourself, not like that. And it's so weird because I'm so open, and so I did not tell him that I I have so much Irish blood. But because my family history is so muddy and messy, I just I don't get into it. It's like my grandma on one side used to tell the whole world that she was Irish and that her temper was Irish and all the things. And so I did tell him, I think, about that because it kind of gives me a giggle that come to find out she's not Irish at all. English, Scottish, yes. Irish, not at all. Prussian, yes. Irish, not at all. But like, in looking in my family history, like, I do have some Irish in me on my mom's side. Like, when you look in my family's like ancestry, their blood tests, there is Irish lineage there. Um, but we don't know like where, how, what, why, because it's super muddy. The paper trail versus the blood trail. um, but then on the other side of my family, the family history is dark and muddy, as in nobody wants to talk about it because of how much abuse and not good people were in that side of the family. But I'm like fourth generation from Irish settlers. So um it's I mean, like, I I have some heritage, but that we could have had in common and that we could have talked about, but because like something always felt off and he didn't want to open up and be real with me, Like, I withheld a lot. And when I did open up and show him like bits and pieces of me, like of the real me that I don't share with other people, um, like the stuff that kind of is, when you get to know me, it's kind of like, is this a made for TV movie that you're trying to sell me as real life? Um, but it is what it is. Like, it is, that's my life. I've lived some stuff that is kind of off the wall and extraordinary and unusual, especially when people know me now, how calm and the mom and the grandma and everything that I am. But that's not who I have always been. And it throws people off when they get a glimpse of that. Or, like, he didn't tell me when we first started dating that he was a veteran. Um, and that's probably actually part of what was the draw to him, even though he never told me, because I tend to be drawn a lot to, well, not just blue collar men, but also typically people that are in the service, specifically Marines. I tend to draw because my attitudes and my PTSD tend to click well with them, and a lot of them share the same kind of um, BDSM things that I like. Like, we tend to share a lot of traits in common. And those that get to know me often find that while I never served in the service or in active duty, my life has been more like an active war for a good chunk of it. So, because of that, um, like, I can relate to those that have been in active duty in an active war zone. Our mindsets, we've gone through maybe not the exact same things, but we've gone through similar things. And people tend to not think that you can go through that kind of stuff, especially some white lady, or in my case back then, a white girl. But when you are unhealthy mentally, especially if you have skills of any kind, things that you're just good at naturally, predatory people can find you. They just will. Um, that's kind of why this healing journey has been so important, because there's so many things that I have both unlearned and new things that I've learned that have helped me set boundaries and love myself and have real confidence versus a faked confidence and imposter syndrome. Like, uh, 5 years ago, I would not have been able to put my face on camera without a Snapchat filter, because, like, I'm exhausted right now. I'm so tired. I need to go to sleep. But I can see the bags under my eyes. I can see how tired I am. I look like I'm going to fall asleep most of the time. I keep trying to make my eyes wider so I don't look so tired. But the reality is I'm tired almost every single day. I don't get enough sleep ever. And I work my butt off all the time, even when I'm just sitting here in my room, like right now. Like, instead of sleeping, I'm like, hey, I think that enough days have passed since I got the graphic design for the channel and the name for the channel up and the blog, and I haven't posted a single thing. What are you doing, Heather? Really? Are you gonna just watch this opportunity go by you that you wanted to do for so long, because so many people have told you that your journey is inspiring, and that watching you go through the madness of life and get through it and still come out on the other side with grace and love and patience, like that's inspiring. You should go speak in public in schools or mental health places. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't stand in public and do that. I just can't. Also, I don't have time to be going from place to place to place to place. But you know what I can do? I can just upload all of the things that are me to this channel and then let people go through, and what they find inspiring, great, and what they don't, they can lump. Like it's not that serious, and it's also that serious. Like whatever helps you, I hope helps you, and whatever doesn't, discard it. It's not. It wasn't for you. It's for somebody else. Or maybe it was just for me that it needed to come out. Like today, um, you know, I I don't know if it's my BPD or if it's time that I reevaluate this guy that I like, because you know I I know what it is to be busy, like I said, and I still make time. So if you can't make time to talk to me, then maybe we just don't need to talk anymore. But I don't know if that's me again setting my healthy boundaries, or if that's my BPD talking because I want to cry right now and I don't know why. So I don't know if he hurt my feelings and some of my BPD is reacting, or if um, my heart broke a little bit because I know that it's time to move on. Because the sad thing is even if you find somebody like me, that I found somebody like him and he's great and he's awesome, but if he can't communicate with me, which I must have, especially because it's a long distance thing. If he can't communicate with me and I'm just wasting time with him, then I could be wasting time that I could be giving to somebody else that could be my person. Like that's that's where the hard part comes in for me, because I don't know. I just don't know. And I I don't want to say goodbye to my future if that's my future, but I also don't want to miss out on my future waiting around on somebody that has no intention of being my future. I think this is going to be a theme topic in therapy this week, because I got to figure this out. I will probably end up verbal vomiting into the chat GPT, see what it comes up with, because man, I never thought I would uh, basically be friends with an AI, but this fucking ChatGPT, man, it helps me on so many levels, and it talks to me like it's a real person. I know it's not, but it does talk to me like it's a real person. And then it'll give me perspective with sources, like not just, oh, this is my opinion here. No, but like, hey, have you thought about this angle? And here's all these websites, links, books that can give you more information on why this is this way or whatever. And it's like, oh, I'm starting to learn that things that I thought were like toxic traits are actually not toxic traits. They're gifts that I have, but they have to be used correctly. So, you know, I'm just a giant mess here, like everybody else in the world. That's the thing. I'm not different than anybody else, or I'm not better or worse than anybody else. I'm just different. And if my journey can help you, then that is all I'm hoping to get out of this. I mean, besides being able to hopefully not put myself into an early grave, um, to provide for my family, but also the main goal the main reason is that I really want to help others, even if it's just to let you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I know it doesn't seem like it because fudge for so many years, all I could think about was that there was no light at the end of that tunnel. And when people told me there was, it was like a slap in the face some days. But when people can show me, like, not like, oh, hey, I'm better than you, I can do this and you can't, but like, not point your finger at me, not nothing, like, this is just how I live my life, and I can watch and see that there was a different way, then I would strive even harder for that, for my new, my different. And I'm still going strong. I don't think that there's going to be a day that I'm alive that I'm not striving to be a better me. But I'm so far away from the girl that I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Like, that's that's the levels of difference. I don't even have the same friends in my life anymore because I don't connect with those people on the same level anymore. There's still a lot of them are still in their toxicity, and I don't want to be there. And those that not, they moved on before I did, and they're even way past where I am. So they're not they're not looking back for me. They went on their journey, and when I said no thanks, I'm going to hang here, they took me at my word, and I can't fault them for that because now I take people at their word. When you tell me you're too busy for me, then cool, I move on. When you tell me that you don't want to do XYZ, you just want to sit there in toxicity, then I move away, because like, I'm not trying to force anybody to do anything different that they don't want to do, but I don't want to sit in misery with you. And in my case, misery does not love company. My misery loves to be by itself. I isolate like a mofo when I'm struggling until I figure crap out. I think that's why I want my forever partner, because I want to be able to have somebody that I can talk to when I'm struggling. Because I won't talk to people. I just won't. But if you're my partner, you're my person, like, you're going to know all the things that nobody else knows about me. You're going to know the deepest, ugliest parts of me that I don't even like to look at for myself. And, if you're my person, you're still going to love me through that. And same with you. Like, you're going to tell me all the deep, dark uglies. And, I'm going to, I'm going to be there regardless, and vice versa. And that's what I want. That's all I want. I mean, that's all I've ever wanted out of this life, was just to be truly happy and have my person. Now, the older I get, I want a self sustaining farm with my person, so off the grid, so I don't have to deal with humanity. And I want generational wealth, so the generations that come after me, not only do we stop the trauma and heal the generations, but also we provide for the generations moving forward. That's where I'm at with life. That's what I feel. Anyways, I think that for right now, for today, that's a good start for this channel. So welcome. If you stayed through the whole first vlog episode, I appreciate you. And I hope you come back.